morning, everybody. First up this morning, the reality star contestant you either love or hate. Let's just say we love him. His sister is a fixture here on our show, and we've been begging her to bring in her brother for months so that we could have a conversation here on the Yellow Couch.
Right here, that's right. Fans of The Bachelorette know him. He's Nick Viall, along with our friend and his sister, Maria. Welcome back, you guys.
What's up, guys?
Welcome to you to the Yellow Couch.
Hi.
Yeah.
How's it
Great
feel?
to have you.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's
More comfortable than...
crossed off the bucket list.
Yeah, we know. That's on the list.
Yeah.
We're excited to have you here. We've been talking about it for months. Every time your sister's here, we're like, tell us what's going on. She's always like,
scoop.
she won't do it. Clearly, you know, sworn to secrecy.
I don't tell her anything. That's,
Do you really? Do you keep most of it from her?
I'm kidding.
Okay. She knows most of it. Okay, so let's talk about it a little bit. What are you up to now? What's going on after the show?
Just living my life.
Not here in Milwaukee. You're in Chicago.
I'm in Chicago,
right?
yeah. So I'm just working on some various projects with a few people. I know I'm being really vague, but
Extremely.
yeah. No,
Really
I mean,
great answer, Nick.
Yeah.
We know you're more specific than that.
Yeah, I tend to be. Yeah, so I mean, I have my job that I from selling software. They've been very cool in terms of flexibility, and so I've been on leave with them and working on some other projects. I've dabbled in modeling a little bit, but that's just kind of something I'm doing on the side. And
We probably should have prepped some of those shirtless photos from your Instagram.
it's probably best that you did it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you can find them on Instagram and check those out.
How much do people recognize you? You're just out and about on the streets in Chicago or at a restaurant or whatever. How many people come
The
up to you?
show is really popular. I've learned. I was actually surprised, but I
get recognized a lot.
It tend to be.
Yeah. People want to have a selfie with you.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. But
Yeah.
most
Maria's
people,
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was actually surprised just how popular the show was. I mean, I didn't really watch it before it was on.
Yeah.
But you went back for more, so you liked it. Were you disappointed to not be the next Bachelor?
No.
No?
No.
Would you go back? Would you do it again? Would you be on another season of The Bachelorette?
I think my time on the Bachelor franchise is probably complete. I'm a big fan of Bachelor in Paradise. I think I like watching it as a fan. It's a fun show.
Would you do that
Do you watch
show?
it?
I do.
My friend's trainer Kirk was
It's
on
really
there.
good. Like it's really entertaining.
It's very entertaining.
I think it's. I like it more as a fan. So
You wouldn't go on it?
who knows? But my guess is probably not.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what's the most common thing that people ask you? I mean, you've been so vocal and open about your relationships and the depth that they've gone. Is that usually where people go? And they
No, not really. A lot of people ask me, how's Chris Harrison?
Really?
They like to know about
He
him.
hosted Miss America my year.
Yeah?
So I met him 2 years ago.
He's a really nice guy.
Did I catch that?
Yeah, I know. It's just
A lot of people
couple.
like knowing if it's like real and things like that. They're just more like most people just kind of stare and kind of are enamored with the show. I mean, people really like TV, so.
Oh yeah.
I get a kick out of it.
What do you think about kids who watch the show? Because there are times when my kids have watched the show with me.
Times as in every week.
I think it just depends on the content. I don't know if Paradise, our youngest sister wasn't allowed to watch every episode.
How old is she?
I had a
Not
tendency of
fantasy
making it not
one.
necessarily child appropriate.
Yes.
Yeah. How accurately do you feel people are portrayed on shows like that? Because I think that's one of the biggest questions people have with reality TV is how much of it is real?
It's all real. It's not scripted. So, like, no one, one thing I always say is, like, no one ever makes you say or do anything you don't want to do.
Really?
Never. Like, no one tells you you're supposed to do something or say something.
Okay.
Certainly, like, people might have ideas or suggestions, but that's all they are. Like, that's life, too. People give you advice, and you can be like, okay, I'm going to take it or not. But in the moment, like, you can say or do whatever you want. As far as portrayal, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, like, each episode is maybe 40 to 50 hours of footage and film. They have to condense that down to an hour and 40 minutes, if you take out commercials and things like that. And so sometimes, content might be, missed at times, but I think the show generally wants to tell the story that happens. I'm sure every season there are various cast members that, you know, feel like some things and content might not be there, but it's, you know, for the most part, you know, the things that are said, you know, happen.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd do differently? Things that you've said, things that you've done that you'd change?
I mean, like hindsight's 20/20, right? So you can nitpick over every little thing, but generally, no.
No.
Yeah.
You just live and learn.
I mean, yeah. What else would it?
Being
you know,
authentic.
Yeah. I mean, what else could you do? I mean, so when I was doing the show, it's just. It's that when people ask you, is it real? Like, certainly for the people there, most of them, you know, it depends on how you want, it's real to you. It's a very unrealistic situation, right? It's not a normal environment.
Right.
But in there, it's your life. Like, you wake up, you interact with those people, you have these...
real feelings.
Yeah, and it's like, that's the life you live in. For better or worse, that is your world. And so it's very real to you.
Well, I want to talk about the home visits.
Oh, right.
Maria, I mean, you were part of 2 home visits in 2 different seasons. What did you think of the process and being part of that? And having
You were always the skeptical
I was
one.
going to say, I was like coined the skeptical sis.
Yeah.
You know, the first one I think obviously was like new for everyone. It was a lot of hype. You're kind of like, you don't know what to expect. We hadn't seen him for a while, and you really don't see them until the cameras are rolling. It's not like we're like, hey, how are you? This is how it's going to go. It's like
they walk in
and you've been waiting there.
Yeah, you literally just walk in.
Yeah.
There's no like prep.
The second one, you know, I think, I mean, I was really there, both of them obviously there for him, but the second one I was actually in Vancouver and came to that one just because, you know, it really was to be there for him, you know, how are things going, knowing kind of the backstory of the last season, wanting to, you know, make sure that he was good and everything was going well.
And he was making a good decision.
I don't even think it was necessarily that. I think in the midst of that, you know, they're still figuring it out. I mean, I remember when we would have like our conversations, which were pretty, you know, authentic. They're pretty real. Just what's going on? What are you thinking about? You know, and not so much trying to figure out if they're making the right decision, but just, you know, what's your thought process? Because like you said, that's your reality. Even though, like, for me, I'm like, that's not reality. It is your reality when you're in it. So just being like, what's going through your mind? What's next? You know, how are you feeling? And
do you think now bringing someone home, your family would react with the same kind of questions? Because your little sis, wasn't she always like, do you love my brother?
Yeah.
Well, again, it's a little more magnified, right? Like, I think you realize that, and even Bella, as young as she was, kind of understood that process. I mean,
we do that with all.
You just go around
siblings.
and interview
and we have
the
a cast
relationship.
of 8
The first time
cameras,
they come
and
in.
we all sit there. That's
There are
really
8
how we
cameras.
oh, there's a handful.
Yeah,
There's a
give or
lot
take.
going on.
There's a lot of us, so I mean,
Yeah, because how many siblings? You guys are.
there's 11 of us total.
Wow.
That's a lot of people for your mom to cook for.
A little bit.
Before we get to the him and her, because we're running out of time, I want to know, what's a typical, like, what's an ideal date for you now? And do people expect that you plan this elaborate, amazing date
hope not.
when you go out?
I just like simple stuff, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, if you're going to go on a date, you want to get to know the person, right? So I like, you know, maybe just like a casual, maybe it's dinner, maybe it's dessert, maybe it's just drinks, you know, like, that's
where you can talk.
Especially if it's like a first date, right? Like, I'm not going to try to overly impress someone by like some fancy dinner. It's just more like that. I think that comes when you're actually in a relationship.
Do you like first dates?
It depends on who's the date.
All right, we're going to play a little game here. You grab your paddles, so show both sides of it. So it's going to be him, or it'll say me, her, or me. Okay, so let's, first question.
All right.
You guys ready?
We're
ready,
rapid
Maria?
fire these.
Yep.
Who's funnier?
Oh, they agree.
Nice.
I'm just going to say her for everything.
How about
No,
this?
that's not true.
Okay,
You
then
don't
you'll
have
like
to.
this one, Maria. Who's better looking?
Oh, that's cute. That's
Cute.
adorable. Who's better on TV?
Ooh.
I mean, it depends on who you ask.
Yeah. I think it depends on the content.
Yeah, we'll just...
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
so it's kind of in the middle
If it's
there.
about holistic nutrition.
It's about digestion. He's really good. They just haven't covered that yet on The Bachelor.
Between the two of you, who's the peacemaker?
Oh, definitely Maria.
Oh, that's nice.
Aww.
They
I just
agree.
kind of keep to myself.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Who's older?
I think me, yeah.
You.
I think.
You think? That's
Who's
hilarious.
smarter?
Oh, definitely.
Who's the most smartest?
I mean, I'll go like this.
I think we're probably fairly equal in intelligence.
Depends on the topic.
There you go. Fair enough.
Right. If it's about dating, then it's Nick.
He's
Right?
the pro. I mean, I can't say I've done a
Although
whole
you
lot
got the
of it.
steady
Those who
boyfriend.
can't teach.
Steady,
Yeah.
not numerous dates. I would not be able to do that.
All right, next one. Who's the better cook?
Oh.
Depends on who you're cooking.
Yeah, he's really good at
Very
like
good.
4 things, but really good at them.
That's not true.
Pizza. Homemade pizza.
Oh, homemade pizza.
I
Okay.
can cook.
Oh, I
I'm the
know.
same. Like I would not be able to cook anything she eats.
Yeah, well,
not
because a lot
true.
of
I
it
eat
doesn't
pizza.
take cooking.
'Cause she eats
a lot of it's
kale.
raw.
Yeah,
Kale?
they just send me out
Right?
into the pasture.
When did
The
kale
one thing I
become
learned from your
popular?
sister is the difference between cocoa and cacao.
Yeah.
The one big difference. The one big
Out of
I
all
tried
your
so
episodes,
much.
that's
Yeah.
your biggest
Every day.
takeaway?
Because I said, I'm like,
Keeps going.
tomato. She's like, actually, no, that's not true. They're
right.
very different.
There we go. Who will get married first?
Yeah.
Well, that's
She's
a
in a-
loaded question.
She's
I
in a
can't
relationship.
answer that.
She's
Yeah.
like, and he's a
But I
great
can't
guy.
answer
so-
that.
He is a
I mean,
great
that's
guy.
my
He is
guess.
good.
All
Yeah.
right, who's taller? You guys have a whole
Oh.
super
I think
tall
she has
family.
me by like a quarter inch.
I'm taller.
Okay. But you're
Really?
saying me
I'm
anyway?
6'2". She's like 6'2".
On like a bad day, I'm like 6'2". I'm
bad
taller. I
day.
guarantee.
I'm
Really?
exactly
I think
6'2".
so.
Who's better at basketball?
Oh, definitely her.
Yeah.
She played
Faster.
in college,
You
right?
ran track, so.
Oh, you did? You're
we
fast?
both played
I was,
collegiately at
yeah.
UWM at the
Okay.
same time.
I
So.
was fast.
That's cool.
It was fast.
Yeah,
More.
I was.
Thanks for joining us.
no
It was
problem.
great
Thanks
to
for
meet
having
you.
us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us and being here. That was awesome. Keep us posted on what happens next.
I will. I'll be very specific.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. Our